And now overseas to the developing rebellion out of Syria. Russia says ousted Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad has fled to Moscow, where he has received asylum after rebels seized control of the capital, ending his family's 50 years of control. The country's prime minister says he is ready to hand over the government to the opposition in a peaceful transition. Syria has been embroiled in civil war for almost 14 years. Residents flooding the streets and freely roaming the empty halls of the presidential palace today after waking up to a new country without a government or leader. President Joe Biden says the U.S. is prepared to support Syria and ensure stability in the region.
The United States will do the following. First, we'll support Syria's neighbors, including Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, and Israel, should any threat arise from Syria during this period of transition.
The U.S. currently has 900 troops fighting against a resurgence of ISIS in the country's northeast territory. Experts say it's still too early to know what the long-term implications of this are, but members of the DMV Syrian community are rejoicing. Fox 5's David Kaplan is live in the newsroom. Good evening, David.
Yes, Sierra, good evening to you. I want to start with this. I've spoken with 3 Syrians living in the U.S. All are, as you said, rejoicing tonight, celebrating the end of a ruler that brought a lot of pain to them and their families. Mohammed al-Abdallah was a political prisoner, a victim of torture in Syria, and now he's the leader of the Syria Justice and Accountability Center. This is all emotional for him. He told me by Zoom that he plans to go to Syria in the next few weeks and for the first time in nearly 20 years, hug his father.
So just watching those people like walking free was amazing. Seeing Sudnaya prison again in the video, that's a place where I was held for some time. Yeah, these places, like, people deserve better than this. We deserve better than this guy, and hopefully we'll get the better. Yeah, the transition is not going to let us down.
The happiness that we're hearing about in the short term comes with some trepidation, as you just heard, about what comes next. Multiple groups were part of the coalition that forced Bashar al-Assad from the country. Some of those groups do have extremist ties, or at least a history of them. Mohammed al-Abdallah says those groups right now are saying what he hopes to hear about a future Syrian government, and that there is hope that what they are saying is the government that comes to fruition. Dr. Amy Austin Holmes is an expert on Syria who teaches at GW and Texas A&M here in D.C. She says this is a historic moment, but what happens next regarding the government that might take over, well, that's going to be closely watched.
It's too early to tell exactly what's going to happen. There are talks now between HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and the SDF. And so I hope that they will be able to come to an agreement and find some way to govern that is inclusive of all Syrians from all backgrounds.
And certainly we have spoken with other members of the Syrian community here in D.C. that are looking forward to going back to Syria, something they feel they have not been able to do in the last decade plus. I also talked to some people who said that they are just still coming to grips with the fact that Assad and his family were in power for over 50 years, that is not the case anymore. So they're going to be watching the developments very closely in Syria, as we will do the same. Sierra.